This is Pastor Justin Roberts. I'm just responding to someone's question in regards to the seals of Revelation. There's 7 seals which lead on to 7 trumpet judgments, which lead on eventually to 7 bowl judgments. But someone was asking, saying, have these things happened already? Are they in the past, or are they to come, or are we at number 6, or all these different ideas that people are popping about? So I'm just going to put in my explanation of it. I'm not going to say yes they have or no they haven't. What I want to do though is just run through them. We'll run through what they say and what the meanings of them are, and then we can come to some sort of conclusion together. Well, Revelation 7 anyway, it says that there's silence in heaven for the space of half an hour, and this is after a great, in Revelation, the 6th seal is there's a lot of detail and a lot of stuff happens on the 6th seal. Just in general, there's a big earthquake as the throne of God hits us. He flips us upside down. The sun goes down. He flips us upside down. The whole crust moves round. The stars fall from the sky, and the sky rolls up, and all this other stuff. And the Freemasons, the kings of the earth, go and hide in their underground bunkers. Basically, after that, you see 4 angels standing on the 4 corners of the earth. And an angel comes up from the east, and he marks the servants of God on their foreheads. And after that, a great multitude of people are caught up to the throne that have come out of the Great Tribulation. Now, and again, if you think that this has been in the past, then them servants that are marked on their foreheads, they're the ones that go through the end times, the tribulation saints, you could call them. And you know they're there because as you go through the trumpet judgments, when you get to trumpet number 5, when the bottomless pit is opened and the locusts come out the smoke and they come on the earth and they sting the people that do not have the seal of God in their foreheads. So they go after the people that have not been chosen by God to be servants, and they sting them. But people, it's so bad that people want to die, but they can't. So we know that them servants that are marked on the 6th seal are the ones that go through the tribulation period. I mean, there's one factor for you. So what is a man's lifetime? A human body can only, 100 years, let's say. So the servants of God are marked during the 6th seal. So that's why we know the 6th seal hasn't been yet, because, of that time. And after that, when the 7th seal is opened, there's silence in heaven. Now, just to go in a bit more detail about the 6th seal, I want to go backwards through the seals. So, maybe we have opened one of the seals. The 6th seal, like I said, there's a massive earthquake, and the crust of the earth is pole shift. It's totally twisted around, and the sun goes down, and that hasn't happened. We've always pointed upwards, and all the countries have been laid out the same since basically the day of Jesus Christ's resurrection. That was really the last known time, because the sun went down at noontime in Israel, because the earth was being flipped right round, and the earthquakes, even in Israel, the earthquakes were there, and the sinkholes, and they sunk the temple, and there's all sorts of stuff. So we haven't had a pole shift like that since the day of Jesus. Maybe before that, yeah, but since the day of Jesus, we have not had a pole shift. That's point number 1. Point number 2, about when it says the kings of the earth hid themselves, this is very specific now. Now you'll know that the 6th seal hasn't happened yet, but I tell you what, it's right on the cards, because it says the kings of the earth hide themselves in the dens in the rocks of the mountains. So it's in the dens in the rocks of the mountains. Very specific, because World War II, I think they had underground cities then. But now the technology has come along. It was probably after World War II, actually. They had, the Nazi scientists over in America, and basically for 60 years they've been using these huge drills. It's the same. I think they use the same drills to do the Channel Tunnel. But he's been using these huge drills, and basically they're taking, if you imagine it, taking a piece of rock and drilling in like a worm, and then just going inside the rock and drilling round. That's what it means. They're so scared that they're not even chancing going underground and under soil. They're getting a piece of rock, drilling in, and basically creating like a colony inside. And they've done it, and the huge underground cities. You can go and YouTube Jesse Ventura underground, and you should come up with the one where he drives in them, and you see them. Well, again, that's our lifetime. The drilling holes to make dens in the rocks, the technology is only in our lifetime. So this is how we know the sixth seal hasn't happened. And also we see them stocking it up. We see they got buses and cars. They're ready for something huge, which it will be. And that is the time where the throne of God passes over, because the scripture of them says they're so scared. They say, hide us from him who sits on the throne and from the Lamb, because the great day of their wrath is come. And who's going to be able to stand, because they're so scared? And they're inside a rock, and they probably shut the doors, weld the doors shut. But this is what I mean. They're ready to use them, but they haven't used them of yet. So we know the sixth seal has not yet come. The fifth seal, where it says that the souls cried out, "How long, O Lord, holy and true, does you not avenge our blood on them that dwell on the earth?" Well, this is very basic, isn't it? It's about a lot of people dying. I mean, we're not really seeing that at the moment, but when the throne of God passes over and the tail comes through, then the blood will be avenged with the meteorites on trumpet number 1. So if we go now to seal number 4, which is the takedown of North America by the guy on the pale horse. It says the pale horse rides, and and Hades comes with him, and they're giving right over the fourth part of the earth, which is North America. It's like the fourth extension of the Roman Empire, basically, the fourth place on earth that they took over. It's new, isn't it? America's like, it's not that old, America, in terms of empires. And like I said, North America, fourth part of the earth. Has America been taken down by sword? Has it been taken down by pestilence, hunger, anything like that? No, but again, people there know it's on the cards. You've got these FEMA camps and all these disaster alerts coming up. It's on the cards and they know it. But when you type in pale horse, the only world leader, and he's a bit of a, he looks like he's basically supernaturally possessed or something to kill America, and that's Kim Jong-un. He's got a pale horse. The rest of his people have got white horses. Might say something about their personality. They're peaceful compared to this guy, Death, who rides on a pale horse. Given the power over North America, he's the biggest threat to North America is North Korea, and I think it's going to happen. I mean, they made a movie about it called Red Dawn, where North America was invaded by North Korea. People think it won't happen, and the governments that own America want it to happen, because they've got to take down America to rule the world from Israel, and in the parts of Europe and stuff. So that's going to happen, but it hasn't happened yet. So as we move on to seal 3, which is the black horse riding, and that's money problems, financial collapse. Now, that hasn't happened yet. I mean, financial collapse as in the banks are shut, no one's got any money, and everyone's, at the queue, for soup and stuff, at the soup kitchens. I mean, it hasn't happened yet, but as far as timing, we've had the Shemitah cycle. We've had that 7-year cycle. and it appears that we're due for this market collapse right now. And it seems like within a year, most definitely, it's going to crash again. And this could be, bigger crash than all the other years, because they go in like 7-year cycles. It happens. Well, we have, and the graphs show it as well. The graph is like on a roller coaster. I mean, it's tipped like that now. It's just ready to go down at any time. So that hasn't happened just yet. But again, it's really close. I mean, people who watch this know it's close. People who watch the graphs. Seal number 2, war outbreak. Now, we know that the Satanists want to start a war between the Jews and the Muslims. So the war is probably going to be out. The outbreak is probably going to be in the Middle East, and they want to spread it to all the nations of the earth, which is why this refugee thing's happening. So they're mixing all the people up to create more of a conflict of interest and religion and separation. So basically they want in their plan for the nations to basically kill each other until they're economically, financially, exhausted, basically. So everything's just in ruins, so they can rebuild this system afterwards. War outbreak. I mean, since the blood moons have been happening, you've seen nations rise against nation, like Russia butting heads now with NATO. Saudi Arabia getting into it. Armies coming in there. India already. You've got the North Korea. They get their debt wiped out by Russia. North Korea clashing heads with South Korea. North Korea threatening North America. Philippines and all that. NATO in the China Sea, and all these different nations just coming against each other. I mean, it wouldn't take much to start a war. So we can see that SEAL 2, the war outbreak, is close. But how long is it going to take? SEAL 2, war outbreak. SEAL 3, market collapse. How quickly would a market collapse after a war outbreak? I think pretty soon. And just a quick note: you have SEAL 2, the war outbreak. SEAL 3, market collapse. That is when it's depicted that the Dome of the Rock is going to be bombed by stealth bombers in Israel. They're going to get rid of the Dome of the Rock. Obviously, to rebuild God's temple for, not the Jews. They'll think that it's for the Jews, but it's really for the Antichrist to come. And that brings us on to SEAL 1, which is the ride on a white horse, white peace, to conquer the earth. Well, he conquers the earth before Jesus returns. When Jesus returns, the heavens are opened, and he comes out on a white horse. But he doesn't have an arrow. He has a two-edged sword to strike down the nations. So this white horse rider is actually the Antichrist. Now, I know who the Antichrist is. I mean, he's 33 years old now, and he's just ready to come in and be a king. And that's the scripture. It says, a crown was given unto him, and he came out conquering and to conquer. Now, like William the Conqueror, that hasn't happened just yet, but that could happen at any moment. So it's just a case of watching. So in my view, 6, pole shift, and all that crisis that happens, the Illuminati run into their bunkers, that hasn't happened yet. Skip to 4, North America takedown, that hasn't happened yet. But, North Korea want it. SEAL 3, market collapse, that hasn't happened yet, but even the market himself is showing the signs of going. And SEAL 2, war outbreak, I mean, that's just on the cards for someone to hit, make the wrong move, or the Illuminati to do a false flag on Israel or on Iran, one of the two. And has the Antichrist, William? No, he hasn't been crowned yet, but that as well could be on the cards any day. I've been Justin Roberts. Thanks very much for watching. God bless.